Arrow, Season 3, Episode 23, entitled My Name is Oliver Queen, the season finale of this show. Before I get into it, I want to say that I enjoyed this episode very much. I thought it was a good and nice wrap-up of the series story, the season story. And sure, I might have had my complaints here and there about some plot points that I didn't really know how much I understood or how well it made sense. But I feel like they wrapped everything up fairly nicely, and it's one of those situations where I can't wait to see what they do next season because a lot of things have changed. Let's start with the beginning where we see the group who it all looked like they were dying at the end of the last episode from the gas, and they thought Oliver betrayed them. And then they just wake up. They wake up to realize that, hey, we didn't die. What's going on? Until Malcolm reveals that this was all a plan. That him and Oliver not only came up with this, I mean, we knew about them orchestrating Oliver joining the League, becoming the successor, just to get inside of the League and stop them from within. But also that this plan of Malcolm giving himself up, giving the plan up to Roz just so that Oliver can prove himself fully this time, that was a little far-fetched in my opinion. I thought, okay, like, I get it. It clearly worked. And sure, you guys are thinking of a plan B, plan C to fully win this guy's trust. So I get the reason why they did it, but it seemed like you had to be sure that a lot of things worked out in their favor to make sure it went this way. In any event, it happened, and I more than love the fact that Flash made the save. Because, I mean, even though they didn't die from this gas, they were still trapped inside of the dungeon, chained up. And all of a sudden, the Flash shows up, and he chains up all of the assassins. And I loved his reaction when he saw the Lazarus pit, and he said, "Holy crap, you guys have a hot tub?" And then he goes and he sees them. He's like, "Whoa, this really is a dungeon, legit." And so, you know, Barry Allen, Grant Gustin was really funny, really entertaining in this scene. In fact, when he left to go deal with his Harrison Wells stuff. So, like, now I understand the timeline. In the Flash episode last night, Oliver Queen showed up to help Barry, and I didn't really understand it because last we saw Oliver, he was in the League. I guess he was somehow able to get out of the League for this one moment to help Barry, and then he asked Barry for a favor, which this is the favor. So, okay, I don't know how Oliver was able to get out of where he was to help Barry, but he did, and this is where the favor comes in. So, I liked it. I wish I even saw Flash more in this episode because he was that great in his moment. But on the plane that's going to Starling City to destroy it once and for all, the plane was sabotaged, and Oliver finally reveals to Roz what's really going on. And that's where he delivers the great line of, when Roz says, you're Al Sahim, and Oliver is like, no, I'm Oliver Queen, bitch. Okay, he didn't say bitch, but he probably should have. It was a great line, great moment. And I love that he just threw his sword to Nyssa, and she went off and was fighting like 5 or 6 guys by herself. Badass. And Oliver's having a fight with Roz. The back of the plane opens up. Roz escapes with the virus. And Oliver and Nyssa landing the plane was very cool. I like the special effects of the plane crashing. Then you get to the moment where were they at the lab or the office? Because I don't think it was the Arrow Cave. But the group is there, and Malcolm is sort of barking out orders. I like that everyone's looking at him like, what the fuck? Are we really supposed to listen to you? And then Diggle's like, okay, you know what? We'll just follow his lead for now. It's funny to think that they're panicking and that they're trying to figure out a way to stop Ra's al Ghul from destroying the city with this guy Malcolm Merlyn, who in season 1, that was his plan, right? Was to destroy, well, he wanted to destroy the lower level city. Not the Glades, but this city's version of the Glades. And so, okay, fine, it's not as big, it's not as grandiose as Ra's, but still, he wanted to destroy that part of the city. Oh well, he changed his mind. And by the end of the episode, we see that he also had ulterior motives in helping the city get saved. So I guess that works. Now, when Oliver shows up and they give them the room for him to explain to Diggle, because Diggle straight up punched him in the face, still pissed about what happened with his wife. So Oliver explains to Diggle and Felicity, look, this is why I did what I did. And don't get me wrong, I understand Oliver. I understand why he did this. I understand why he felt like he had to do it this way. But I do think, I mean, I like that he said it's not about trust when it comes to working with Malcolm. It's that Malcolm's the only one with the resources and capability of getting him close to the League and in keeping it a secret and keeping the rest of them safe. So I get it. I get the logic behind it. But I do think he should have told Diggle. Felicity too, but especially Diggle. Everything that they've been through, it's not so much as a trust thing, but at least Diggle would have been fully aware and prepared for what was going to happen with his wife. I don't think Diggle would have broken if he was being interrogated and spilled the beans. But oh well, it's just a situation where I understand Oliver and where he's coming from, but Diggle has a very valid reason for being pissed off at him. Obviously Felicity is mad, but she's not as mad. She's able to forgive him very easily. But I did like the scene later on where she's talking to him and she gives him that speech of basically saying that, you know, you're no longer Oliver Queen, really, the heartless guy who stays away from people. And he's no longer really the Arrow, because the Arrow failed to fight and stop Ra's. He's become something else, someone who's able to love and care for somebody, that person being Felicity. And he can use that as a reason to win this fight. Not fighting to die, but fighting to live. I like that. I like the speech, and I like that Oliver seemed to be inspired by it. So again, anybody who shits and hates on Felicity, I don't really think you can hate on that scene. I think she came off very well. The moment when Laurel goes to her father, Lance, and she's trying to warn him about the danger coming. And I guess he was drunk. I mean, I don't know if she was trying to say that he was drunk right then and there, or she could tell he's been drinking. He didn't really seem all that drunk in the scene, but he did reveal that he's been drinking like twice a day and stuff. He's basically fallen off the wagon. But this is the line of the episode. When she says, she begins to tell him about the danger and about how this is virus and stuff. And Lance stops her and says, hold on, let me guess. There's this huge threat on the city and its well-being. It must be May. Which is like, yeah, the last 3 Mays, it's always around the same time, right? Where some crazy maniac has come to the city to try to destroy it. First Malcolm, then Slade Wilson, now Ra's al Ghul. And it all happens in May. So I love that Lance said that. Anything that he said after, I don't hold against him, because that line was great. Now, when Diggle is tracking one of the members of the League, and there's nothing in the briefcase, they realize that it was not only really a decoy, but that the virus is inside of these men. So the second that they bleed or that they kill themselves, that's how the virus gets airborne. That was crazy. That was insane. The moment where the guy is bleeding out on the street and the mass people running in chaos, and then you just start to see civilians falling like flies, dying from this. You're like, holy shit, this is the real deal. But also, Thea was in Roy's Arsenal costume I'm assuming slightly modified because it fit her tight and perfectly. But she is now the Red Arrow, which she name dropped later on in the episode. That was awesome. I almost wasn't even thinking about where where Thea was, and if she would show up. Wasn't thinking about it. But she showed up. She was badass. She was awesome. I like her in the costume. I like her being a part of this team now. When you get to the end of the episode and Oliver's speech, and you see just how big the team is, it's kind of cool. Sure, everybody knows his secret, but hey, this show doesn't have to be about Oliver trying to keep his secret. I like where they're going with it. And then we get the fight. Oliver and Ra's al Ghul, they're fighting on that bridge, which was a very cool setting. And I don't want to say that Oliver killing Ra's seemed very easy. If you compare this to their fight on the mountain, and I mean, Oliver couldn't do anything to combat Ra's, to stop Ra's. And Oliver, sure, he didn't die, but for all intents and purposes, Ra's killed him then. Now, you could say that Oliver's learned from this, and he's a better fighter now. But you would think that Ra's would now know Oliver's strong points and be even harder to beat this time. I don't know, it just seemed like Oliver was on his knees and he was vulnerable until he just got up and stabbed him. Oh well, I can't really complain because it seemed like at least a part of Ra's wanted Oliver to kill him. Because Oliver did this as if he was saying, I'm killing you to take over the mantle. So it seemed like Ra's was more than willing to let him do that. I guess it seemed like that was what was going on. So okay, that worked. And then Oliver just gets shot by the cops. And I mean, I thought maybe he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Apparently it was just the armor of the League suit. Which, it did make me wonder why was Oliver still wearing that costume. Because, I mean, it's a decent looking costume, I guess. It's black. It's bigger. I guess it's the armor that makes it bigger. So now that I know that it's armored, it makes complete sense why he was still wearing it. It's just it's a better, more logical suit for him to wear. But I just thought, story-wise, it would make sense for him to go back to the green to fight Ra's and win. But another thing was that this costume just has like a bigger hood, but you could still see his face. He even takes the hood off and you see his face. I don't know how none of the cops saw Oliver's face. I don't even know if it matters at this point whether anybody knows who he is, especially by the ending. Oh well, long story short, he gets shot, he falls off of the bridge, and then he gets saved by the Atom. Right? The Atom. No, it was Felicity in Adam's costume, which I mean was kind of goofy, but still I liked it. You know, it's sort of reminded me of in Iron Man 3, which I know some people wouldn't want me to reference that movie, but when Pepper Potts puts the Iron Man costume on, a little badass, she makes a save in that one particular scene. So it was almost a callback to that. Or similar to that, even though it's Marvel, DC, they're not connected. Either way, Felicity making the save was something different. I wasn't expecting it. And then that's where you see that they successfully save the city. And Oliver gives up being Arrow, which I definitely wasn't expecting. But I like that he did it. I did, you know. You're going to have some people, I know some people bitch about the Dark Knight Rises and, oh, Batman gave up being Batman. You know, Bruce Wayne retired and he gave it up and for some reason they think it shows weakness. When you see Oliver's life and how every single time it's something that's fucking hard and just, I mean, this is vigilanteism, if you want to call it that. Sucks. I mean, that life sucks. And he's put himself through years and years of pain and torture that even Diggle said he deserves to be happy. Oliver deserves to be happy. Clearly, this retirement isn't going to stick. We all know he'll be back next season. But I like that in the break, him and Felicity are going to go off and be happy together. It's, You know, that line of him saying, this is weird to say, but I'm happy. It was good to see our hero be happy for seemingly the very first time in his life. Truly happy and feeling accomplished. Leaving the city's safety in the hands of his friends and family, people that he knows is capable. I thought it all worked. I very much enjoyed it. But I'm also wondering what's going to happen for him to come back to the city. That will be interesting for Season 4. The conversation he has with Diggle, where they didn't make up. And again, I understand Diggle not wanting to give in so quick to forgive him. But they did shake hands, so at least there is some type of mutual respect still there. Diggle said he'll think about it. But Oliver said, hey, you know what? Maybe you should think about having a mask and concealing your identity for, I don't know, your family's sake. So they addressed it. Diggle said he'll think about it, which hopefully means, yeah, he'll fucking have a mask. He doesn't have to have, like, this whole comic booky costume. I get why maybe the Diggle character thinks it's goofy, but still, just give him something. Give him a mask. Give him a fucking hood. Something. Then we see Ray Palmer working on his costume, and then an explosion happens. And he dies? Now, the reason why I question this and I don't understand this is because it's like, wait, so, you know, you read about all this talk online about the spin-off show, Legends of Tomorrow, and Ray Palmer's supposed to be, like, I'm pretty sure the central character of that show. So if he dies here, and I could just say, like, oh, well, he didn't really die. But it seemed pretty definitive. That fucking explosion took out the whole floor. He was literally right in front of the explosion. I mean, how does he survive that? I don't know. I don't even... Maybe this pertains to what the plot of the spinoff is, because somehow Katie Lots, Sarah, is on this show. And I still don't know how that's possible, but I'm very glad that that's happening. Confusion, but there you go. Last but not least, let's talk about the arrangement that Malcolm had with Oliver, where this kind of explains where Malcolm is coming from, right? Because, like, why else would he be helping Oliver? Sure, it could be just to save his own ass from Ra's al Ghul and the League, to not be assassinated by them, but it had to be more than that. So you find out that the deal was that Malcolm would help Oliver do all this, only for Malcolm to get the throne and become the new Ra's al Ghul. What? Oliver is letting Malcolm become the new Ra's al Ghul? What? And then he leaves the city while Malcolm is Ra's al Ghul? Nothing good can come out of this. At least Oliver had that moment where he stopped Malcolm and said, look, I will never forgive you for what you did to Sarah. I mean, thank fucking God we remember what happened to Sarah. And I won't forgive you for what you put my sister through. And Malcolm said, well, does this mean that we're enemies? And Oliver says, well, it depends on what you do, basically, as Ra's al Ghul. And so that leads me to think that maybe he will be keeping tabs on Malcolm. He says he's retired, but he'll still maybe keep his finger into stuff. I don't know. It's I don't want to say it's confusing, but I'm curious. I'm curious as to what happens now. Even Nessa said that she doesn't forgive Malcolm, that she wants to kill him for what he did to Sarah. And he says, well, hey, bring it. Bring it. But for now, I'm Ra's al Ghul. So kneel before Ra's al Ghul. Not Zod, but kneel, and she does, and they all do. So, wow. Again, I wasn't expecting that. Great episode. I really enjoyed this season. I know you're going to get some people who said that, or who will complain about this season. I've seen some people say it's the worst season of the 3. I don't know. I don't know if I could say that. I would probably have to rewatch all of them back to back to fully give an answer like that. But even if it is the weakest season, I thought it was still pretty awesome. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of not only this finale, but the whole season in general. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.